Okay. Alright. So, alright, goal today is go through these first four. Make sure that you know them, you know how to use them. Obviously the first one's vocab, it should be pretty basic. Let's walk through these. We have parallel lines, skew lines, parallel planes, transversals, alt interior angles, same side interior, corresponding. Euclidean geometry, which is the belief that parallel lines exist. Non-Euclidean believes that parallel lines do not exist. We talked about that in class. And then a vertex is the intersection point of things. Okay, obviously, as you can tell, there's a lot more words than blanks. That's exactly what you should be expecting in your chapter test. About, I don't know, 6 words or so, 7, 8, maybe even more vocab words off to the side. Let's go through some definitions here. Parallel lines. They are lines that do not intersect and they're coplanar. Okay, so they do not intersect and they are coplanar. Okay? So that is parallel. Skew would be that they do not intersect and they're not parallel because they're non-coplanar. So keep that in mind. So skew is where they're not in the same plane and they're not parallel, they're not intersecting. So there's a difference there. Parallel doesn't intersect, but they're not, but they are in the same plane. Skew is not. Parallel planes, limitless flat surfaces that do not touch, that do not intersect. That's parallel plane. Transversals, it's lines or segment or ray that intersects 2 or more other lines. They're coplanar. So that's transversal. Or close that door.
Is it parallel or just too
loud? Okay. Alt interior, angles on the opposite sides of the transversal inside the 2 parallel lines. So they're on the opposite sides of the transversal, inside the parallel lines. They're non-adjacent. There's other things we could say. That's alt interior. Same side interior. They're on the same side of the transversal, one side of the transversal, and they're in between the parallel lines. That's same side interior. Corresponding. They're in the same position of an intersection. But corresponding would be more important. They'd be same side of the transversal, one's interior, one's exterior. But I think what we've always talked about in class is that they're in the same position of an intersection. That was the vocab term we've used for the past 5 vocab tests. Euclidean means that that parallel lines exist. Non-Euclidean, they do not exist. And a vertex is the point where 2 lines meet. Okay, did everyone get their vocab words done? You get all 6. You probably already knew them before I even went through them, because we've been doing so many vocab tests that hopefully this is super easy now. Any words we did not get? Okay, moving on. So I'm going to go through this pretty quick today. I only got you for about a half an hour today. Alright, this problem. This is what you should be expecting on test day. I give you a picture with a bunch of angles numbered off. Okay, so they have 1 through 8 on this picture. What I'm asking for is you to name the numbers that satisfy the following condition. So, for instance, so I have these numbers like 2 and 6, or 3 and 1, or 2 and 3. So those angles, what you have to do is tell me what category those fit. So you should have 5 answers written down beside these. Does that make sense? Now the options you have, they're all up here. So if you're that person that's freaking out right now, the vocab is right above you. It's in the direction. You either have alt interior, alt exterior, same side interior, same side exterior, or corresponding. That's it. That's your only options. I'm not going to use vertical. I'm not going to use any other things right now. I'm just using these 5. On test day, I will warn you, and test day, remember, is Friday. I will warn you what vocab words you can use again. Does that make sense? So I'll give you the options you can choose from. But they'll be right here. They're going to all be listed, so don't make up ones that are not in that word bank that you can use. Okay, so let's talk about 2 and 6. Somebody want to volunteer? 2 and 6 are right here and here. What type of angles are they? Alt interior. So alternate interior. And yes, you have to be very specific on what type they are. Don't just write interior. I count it wrong. You better write alternate interior. What about 3 and 1? Somebody else now.
Corresponding.
Corresponding. So 3 and 1 are corresponding. Again, how that works. Corresponding. One's inside, one's outside, and they're on the same side of the transversal. They're in the same position of an intersection. That's corresponding. 2 and 3, somebody else now. Same side interior. Okay. Same side interior. And yes, you have to be specific. You can't just say same side. You better say interior, because there's 2 types of same sides. But again, that was 2 and 3. They're both on the same transversal inside the 2 parallel lines. 4 and 8. Somebody else now. 4 and 8.
Exterior.
Alternate exterior. Alt exterior. And again, you got to be specific. Don't just say exterior, or don't just say alternate. You have to tell me what type they are. And the last one, 7 and 5.
Corresponding.
Corresponding. Yes, you can have repeating answers. So don't feel that they have to be all the same numbers or the same word. I could have the same word used 5 times in a row. So just be careful of that. Now, here's the thing I want you to make sure of. Don't memorize this picture. I'm picking a different picture from your textbook, putting it right there, and asking you the pairings again. So you got to look at your vocab words, look at the picture. Don't just memorize these numbers. Okay, are we good so far? All right, again, if you don't remember this stuff, this is the beginning of chapter 3 stuff we did. So look back at chapter 3. You can see a bunch of examples in the book. So just go find those angles. Okay, let's go to the next one. We're on number 3. You have to find x and y. Okay? This is going to require that you know how to use alternate interiors, corresponding, same side interior. There's those little properties. The thing I want you to know, vertical angles are equal. Number 1, you can transfer things vertically like the whole funnel system. Same side interior are not equal. Same side interior have to add up to be 180. Alt interior are equal. Correspondings are equal. So there's different ways to find these numbers. Okay? So let's go through this. So number 1, knowing that this is 55, I can find the angle that's right next to it, because what do these two have to add up to be?
180.
180. So x plus 55 should make 180 because they're side by side. That's how it works. They're side by side. So you can subtract, you can figure out that this angle would have to be a 125. So x is a 125. Okay, does that make sense how I find x so fast? And then, now that I know x, now I can go find y. There's different ways of doing this. I would say this is kind of the easiest. What type of angles are these two?
Alternate interior.
So they're equal. So that's also your y number, it's the same digit. If you don't like that, maybe that didn't make any sense to you, that you don't know your alternate interior, fine. Move the 55 here by doing the little funnel system vertical. And now you have same side interior. These angles would have to add up to be 180 again. So that's another way to do it. It would have to be 125 again. So there's different ways of doing it. Or you could do the corresponding. Jump 55 down to here. Maybe that's the way you saw it. Hopscotches. So go correspond. And then you can do the one right next to the y. Those have to add up to be 180. There's different ways of solving it. Don't get stuck with one method. I'll pick some easy type of problem. I'll ask you to find x and y on it. We did a bunch of those in class. That was something we did in the homework. We did a lot of those. Questions? Okay, let's do the next one, number 4. This is my last problem today for this practice guide, then we'll go into your practice semester test. Okay, this one. Now you have to use the concepts we did. I think I recognized this problem. This looked like a lot like one of your homework problems, or something that was very close to your homework problem. We have to find x and y. I think this was a homework problem. Okay. All right. First step. Since you have parallel lines, okay, these two angles here have to add up to 180 because they're same side interior. They're inside the parallel lines. So what does your x have to be?
60.
Yeah, this has to be a 60. So number 1, you already know that your x is 60 because it has to add with the other one because they're same side interior. Now that you know that, you can plug the 60 in here. And this is what a lot of people were asking me questions on when you guys had your homework. A lot of people are like, Ward, how do you even do that last part? You already know x. So go plug it in. So if I plug this in, I already heard someone say it, I can plug this 60 in because we already know x is 60. This turns out to be 180 minus 70, which is 110. So this angle right here is 110. So that means this angle would have to be 70. So that adds up with the 110 to make 180. And so common sense tells you that this angle should be the 70 sitting there. You had to plug the x in to go find this angle. And then use this angle to find the one next to it, and then common sense solve for y now. Subtract this over. That's 30. Divide by 3. That's how you're supposed to do that problem. But most people get stuck. They know how to usually find x. That's usually what they know. But then they don't know how to use it. They have to go plug it back in and then do some common sense checks to figure out the other ones. It's going to be using, same side interior, alternate interior, corresponding. It'll be using something, but you have to go find one of the letters. One of the letters is usually easy. The other one's a little more challenging. So you have to go find it. All right, questions on number 4. All right, what we're going to do next, you can put your chapter 9 practice guide away. You can put that away for right now. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at your practice semester test. Okay, so practice semester test. I'll start and set the camera here. Give you a little bit of time. Now remember, we do have homework due tomorrow. That's that worksheet we had on systems and whatnot. Okay, yesterday we did this problem with a piece of cheese here. We talked about that problem. We talked about the process that I'm going to be checking for points, lines, and planes. Do you know notation? Do you know the little things? Okay, we did that one yesterday. Number 2, we talked about how to find distance and midpoint. Those are the 2 we did yesterday. The next one, we're going to do number 3, and we're going to do number 4 today. That's the 2 we're going to do. Monday, we'll do 5, we'll talk about 6. On Tuesday, we'll talk about 7, 8, and then 9, 10, and 11. So maybe I have to actually do 3 today. I might have to do 3 today tomorrow. We'll do 3 today. That way I can get through these by Tuesday. So we'll do the second page here. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Here we go. We'll save on number 3. Okay, so number 3, we have to name off angles, name the notations, know the sides, all that. So, what is the vertex of angle 4? Point U. It's a point. Okay, you have to write the word point. It is a dot. That's the vertex. The sides of angle 3. So angle 3 is right here. The sides is this wall and that wall. When you tell me the walls, you have to use the letters, the 2 letters on the wall, and then put a little arrow above it. So what's one of the walls? WX. And you have to have the arrow facing from the vertex. The vertex is X, away from X. So there's one of the walls. What's the other wall? XU. And the arrow has to face away from the vertex. So those are your 2 walls. You would not believe how many people got that wrong in that chapter 2 test that we took. A lot of people got those wrong. Like an excessive amount of people missed that. Because they don't know what the sides mean. It's a wall. It's 2 letters. It's a length of the side. So it's 2 letters with arrows above it. That's sides. Okay, there's 2 of them. And yes, it's plural, so they better have 2 of them. Okay, what's another name for angle number 2? XYU. I agree with that. Angle X, Y, and U. Because if angle 2 is right here, so you have to use the letter Y and you have to use those walls. I make angle number 2. So it's X to Y to U. You're using the letter system. Don't use numbers. I had somebody a couple of years ago tell me that angle 2 is angle 1, 2, 4. You just named 3 angles. You can't use the number system. You have to use the letters. Okay. Another name for UXY. U, X to Y. Angle 1, I heard that from a couple different people. All right, angle 1. Or you could be the smart aleck and do this. Switch the letters around. Just leave the X in the middle. You could be that person. It does work. That is the correct name. Switch the letters. So it's angle 1. Because again, how I know it's angle 1, X is the middle letters, that's where the vertex is. So it's, I had 2 choices, either 1 or 3. It's a 50-50 choice. But then using the letters, I can figure it out. Okay, name 2 adjacent angles. Angles that are next to each other. Use the number systems. 1 and 3. Yeah. Angle 1 and angle 3. They're next to each other. Step by step, that's what adjacent means. I could ask for a linear pair. I could ask for vertical angles. I could ask for acute angles, obtuse, supplementary, complementary. I could ask for a lot of different things that we've talked about. Adjacent means they just have to be next to each other. If I wanted a linear pair of angles that make a straight line, maybe I'll do angle 2 and this angle over here. That's a linear pair that make a straight line side by side together. They're also adjacent. I guess that's also supplementary. Those 2 angles have to add up. If I wanted vertical, I'd probably have to do angle 2 and the one across from angle 2, and I'll have to make up letters. You can always put more numbers in the picture. You can always put extra letters if you need them. So if you needed vertical or whatnot. All right, questions at all about what type of problem I'm going to put on that? It'll be a picture where you're going to have a bunch of segments going everywhere, lines, and I'll ask for different types of angles. Be careful. Think about it with common sense before you answer it. You would not believe how many people get these wrong because they don't even read the problem. They try to give me a different name for angle 4. They try to give me, a different name for angle 3. They don't even read what the question's asking for. All right, let's go to number 4. Okay, we have to name the picture so that you have no word bank to go off of here. You have to give me if it's convex or concave, so if it has a cavity or not. And you have to tell me if it's regular or irregular. I can tell in the first millisecond looking at a picture whether it's regular or irregular. The regular picture, all the walls and all the angles have to be marked. Do all these pictures have every wall and every angle marked? No, they're not. Like, they have some walls marked, they don't have all the angles marked. So automatically, both of these pictures are irregular. Like, I can tell in the first second they're both irregular. They don't have all the angles, all the walls marked. Are they convex or concave? Do they have little dents, cavities? Yes. Well, they're both concave. They both have cavities. They both bend inwards. So they're both concave. So right there, you already have 4 points. And I can do that in the first millisecond. Okay? Now, the next part, what we have to do is figure out, what type these shapes are. So you have to count how many walls they have. So this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 walls. So if it has 7 walls, say it again? Septagon. Septagon. Or I'd accept heptagon. It's got 7. Count. Number them off. You would not believe how many people count it wrong. That's why I number mine. You always see me number mine. Let's go to the next one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 walls. 10 decagon. Nice. 10 decagon. That's the one a lot of people always forget. The shapes, if you don't know, it was triangle, quadrilateral, hexagon, heptagon or septagon. I forgot pentagon in there. Pentagon is 5. So again, triangle, quadrilateral, pentagon, hexagon, heptagon, octagon, nonagon, that's 9, nonagon, decagon, hendecagon, and dodecagon. Those are the only options I picked from. Again, those were back in, I think, chapter 3, chapter 2, when we talked about shapes. It was like middle of chapter 2. 2.6 maybe, 2.7, the section where they had all the names in the book. Okay, last problem of the day, because I said I want to do 3 of these today. Last problem. We'll do 3 today, 3 tomorrow, 3 Monday, 3 Tuesday. Let's see, we do 1, 2, we do tomorrow, 3, 4. Yeah, I got 3 today. All right. Okay, so we did that one, we did this. The last problem of the day, we have to tell me the converse, inverse, contrapositive, and then tell me if the sentence is true or false to begin with. So pretty easy. This is exactly what your semester test will look like. I'll give you a sentence. It'll be something easy that you can read. I think the one we did on the previous test was something about spotted animals or something like that, I think. It was like if the animal spotted, it had to be a leopard. That was one we did on the previous test. What was another one we did? If a bird can fly, I think we did once. That was on a previous practice guide. So there was a couple that we've had. I think I did even one about rectangles and squares. And that was enough homework for once. So we've had lots of options with this stuff. We have to first tell me, is this sentence true or false? So if you square a number and you get the number 4, does the number have to be -2?
No.
No. It does not. So the sentence is false. What could the answer be?
2.
It could be 2. It could be +2, and you would have got the same answer. So their conclusion is false. They said it had to be -2, could have been +2, so they're false. Okay, but we have to go through the 3 sentences now. And no, you do not have to tell me true or false for the rest of these. Okay, you just have to write the sentences down. So the first one I'm going to do, let's do the inverse. Then we'll do the converse, and then we'll do the contrapositive. And yes, you do have to label which one's which. If you don't label them, I will count them wrong. Inverse. It's the same sentence, all I do is throw the word not in there. So, how do you throw a not with an equal sign in there?
Slash through it.
Put a slash through it. Very nice. Good memory on that. X squared does not equal 4. Then x does not equal -2. That's the best way to throw knots. That's an inverse. You just throw the word knots in the sentences. I think the one that we had about Dalmatians or spotted animals, it was something like, if an animal is not spotted, then it is not a leopard. That type of thing. I think we did a problem with Chicago, and it was one of the homework problems we had. Like if you're in Illinois, then you live in Chicago. You do not live in Illinois, then you do not live in Chicago. Question. Converse. We take the sentence, the original sentence, and you flip it around. That's a converse. If x equals -2, then x squared is 4. So it's the original problem to switch. That's a converse. Just take the sentence, flip the 2 words around, keep the if and then where they sit. Contrapositive. Guess what you do again? You throw the word not in there for this red sentence. So can somebody tell me what this is if I throw the word not in here?
X does not equal -2, then x squared does not equal 4.
Boom, done. Easiest things in the world. Right there is 7 points, nice and easy. Tell you, this practice guide, the semester guide is worth a lot of points, so don't lose it. That's the last one today. Okay, you have 5 minutes today. You can kind of work. You can work on your practice guide. You can work on your homework. You can work on other things. We have a worksheet due tomorrow with graphing and whatnot. These practice guides, the chapter 3 one is due on Friday. The semester guide is due next Wednesday when we take the semester test.